अनाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division 4th wave, Chaturtha Lahari, that is Vyabhicari Bhavs. And yesterday we were discussing the stages of Vyabhicari Bhavs: Utpatti, Sandhi, Sabhalya, and Shanti. How it appears, how the different mixing happens, and how sometimes there are conflicting Vyabhicari Bhavs. And then there is disappearance. Very nicely, and I thought this is one of the most interesting topics in this particular fourth wave, I felt. So we saw that, how Utpatti happened, Yashodama seeing the sun turning red and Krishna's flute, her Vatsalya Prem, by which, milk from a breast started flowing. So this is Utpatti. And then we saw also another one, appearance of envy in Radharani. That also we saw. And then Sandhi, two versions of the same bhavas, Sarupayor, Bhinnayor, or two different bhavas, mix. They are called as Bhava Sandhi. And in this, there is, when there are same Vyabhichari bhavas arising from two different cause and joins, then it is Sarup Sandhi. When there is, two different bhavas, favorable and unfavorable, Jad because of favorable and unfavorable. We saw that. And then there is two differing Vyabhicharis arising from same or differing. There are two different Vyabhichari bhavs. Whereas here it is same Vyabhichari bhava from two different causes. This is Swarupayor. Whereas, in Bhinnayor, there are two different Vyabhichari bhavas, not one Vyabhichari bhava. They can arise from same or different cause. So for same one source, we saw Krishna fickle, but he's fearless. Mother Yashoda is same time happy and also having, apprehension. Then from two different sources, Devaki, seeing Krishna, she is feeling joy, harsha, but seeing the wrestlers, she is having, hot tears. That is, we saw Vishada, because they are coming from two different sources. We saw this also. And then many bhavas, which can arise from one cause or many causes. We saw many bhavas coming from one cause. Radha experiencing many bhavas. We saw that. And then same Radha experiencing many of the Vyabhicari bhavas from different sources. She saw Krishna, she smiled, she saw, Abhimanyu, she felt contempt. She saw Padma smiling, that, arose envy in her, you know. So all that we saw that yesterday, right? Very interesting topic, I felt. And when many bhavas conflict with each other, it is called as sabhalyam. So yesterday we saw that, all these many bhavas conflict. Kamsa's example, what a shadow. And then another example of that Brahman also we saw. And then Shanti, when the Bhava disappears, it is Bhava Shanti. We saw example of Krishna's cowherd friends were searching for Krishna. And then ultimately when they heard his flute, then that Bhava of Vishada disappeared. Prabhupada gives this principle of disappointment gives rise to greater satisfaction. We should be completely disgusted with material life. Then we can take up to spiritual life, which will give us the highest satisfaction. So that is what is the principle Prabhupada speaks. And then Rupa Goswami, in his own words, out of humility, is presenting that, I don't have any much understanding of the meanings and flavors. But some examples I have given just to explain them. There are 41 Vyabhichari bhavs, we saw that. And these are transformations in the body and the senses. So this also we saw. And this one bhava, rati, appears, and it appears in various forms, and it describes various qualities. I think we were here. Anyone remembers up till where we discussed yesterday? Anyone? And those who were there yesterday, up till where we discussed? As far as I remember, I had told that 254 verse, 255 verse we will discuss on. So 254 is where we stopped. 255 I remember. Etena sahajeneva bhavena anugata rati eka rupapi ya bhaktir vivida pratibhavatya aso. By this natural bhava, etena sahajeneva bhavena rati or attraction or love appears. Anugata rati. By this natural bhava, rati appears. Though rati is one in speaking about it generally, eka rupa piya, it appears in various forms when wishing to describe its various qualities. Bhakti vivida pratibhavyatya aso. But rati, although it is one, but it appears in various forms through these Vyabhichari bhavs to describe all its. See, try to understand what Rupa Goswami is saying here. That love for attraction for Krishna, Radharani is manifesting in the form of, contempt towards Padma, disgust seeing on Abhimanyu. So all these various forms it is taking, but all are in relation to Rati and attraction for Krishna. So it takes various forms. That one Rati takes various forms. That's the point. That Rati, which is acquired by that natural bhava, though only one when speaking out generally, takes many forms such as Shanta Dasya, when speaking of different qualities such as Shanta in various types of devotees. So again, it takes various forms in the form of Shanta Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Agantukastu bhyo bhava patado raktimeva sah taistair vibhaver evayam diyate deepyate picha. Now, Rupa Goswami is giving an example to understand this. He's saying, just as white cloth appears red when red dye is applied to the cloth. Patado Raktimiva Saha. The incidental bhavas agantukastu yo bhava become situated dhyate in the devotees by various causes. Ter vibhaver evayam and then become visible. Tes dipyate picha. So just like in a white cloth, appears red because of red dye, and there are all those other incidental bhavas which become situated on it, and then because of various causes, and they all become visible. Just like on a red cloth, you have different other various colors. So it becomes more, uh, you know, it becomes more, just you have a painting which is just red. Will you appreciate it? No. But in that red, there are different colors used and different things are there. Then it becomes more, you experience more emotions. So similarly, bhavas are like that. Diyate means is placed. Besides the natural bhava, there are incidental bhavas, Vishwanath Thakur. The natural or intrinsic bhava is compared to the white cloth, and the incidental bhavas are compared to dye. So there is the natural bhava which is Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and these incidental bhavas are compared to dyes, which color that white cloth, and different shades come, and it gives those who have an artistic sense, they can understand. Aesthetics is part of arts. Aesthetics is beauty and appreciation of beauty. So they can make more sense of it. Just the red dye colors a white cloth red. The incidental powers become situated in the devotees and become visible in them by intrinsic causes. It has already been cited among the which are causes, some act as causes, vibhava, and others as effects. This we have already studied. Okay, next text. Vibhavanadi vaishishtyat bhaktanam vedatastata prayena sarvabhavanam vaishishtyam upajayate. Because of the variety of causes and other elements, vibhavanadi vaishishtyat, and the differences in devotees, bhaktanam vedata sada, there is great diversity, vaishishtyam upajayate, in every one of the bhavas, prayana sarva bhavanam. So spiritual world is full of varieties. There can be two devotees in Shantras. So both are having like a white cloth because both are Shant. But again, the flavors of each of the devotee and how he serves in Dasaras might be quite different. So you can see unlimited diversity. Krishna likes to enjoy that different bhavas. And that's why he takes unlimited forms to relish these different bhavas these devotees have. Why there are unlimited forms? Because of the unlimited bhavas which the devotees possess. And that's why Krishna has these unlimited forms in the Ram and Narasimha, Vara, so many unlimited forms are there to relish all these different bhavas. So that completes the, discussion on the stages of Vyabhicari Bhav. The last few verses were for some further explanation of it after discussing the stages. Now, varieties of mind which affect the strength of the Vyabhicari Bhavs. Repressive means when you repress the bhavas. It can be Garishta, heavy, Gambhira, deep, Mashishta, Mahishta, expansive, and Karkasha, hard. And the receptive can be Lagishta, light, Utthana, on the surface, Shodishta, that is small. And then there is Komal. So I put everything here in the chart. You can see here. The repressive have these four types: heavy, deep, expansive, hard. The receptive are light on the surface and small. And the Komal is soft. Okay. Varieties of mind which affect the strength of the Vyabhicari. So let's see this and then you'll more understand. Vividhanam tu bhaktanam vaishishtyad vividam mana manonu sarad bhavanam Taratamyam Kilodaye. There are varieties of minds which already has been different described. Vaishishtya Vividamana of the various types of devotees, Vividhanam cha Bhaktanam, devotees in Shant, Das, etc. In accordance to the varieties of minds, Mano Anusarat, there are also various gradations of appearance of bhavas. Bhavanam Kilodaya, because of the various natures, Taratamyam, such as Garishta, beginning from Garishta. First of all, there are varieties of minds because of varieties of devotees in Shant, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya. And even in Dasya, there are varieties of minds based on the gradations of the bhavas which appear. Based on the gradations of the bhavas which appear. So, one thing which I would like to mention here is that studying this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu will appreciate will also cause a genuine appreciation for the devotees uh, in this world also who have different emotions in relation to Krishna. And because we are not perfected, we see sometimes, if somebody has taste for chanting, somebody might not have so much for that. He might have more taste for reading Bhagavatam. Somebody might have taste for doing more Nam Sankirtan. Somebody might have taste for book distribution. So all have to be appreciated. Mhm. But the tendency is what we like, we try to, push it on others rather than accepting that particular emotion, that is how he is serving Krishna, and Krishna is accepting those bhavas, emotions. So we should see that, and then you can see that all these different varieties uh, is all relishable to Krishna. That is how we need to see that. Krishna is relishing all these different varieties. So when we see that, then there is no conflict. So one should learn to do that. This is very important for devotees. There are various minds of the devotees which have varieties of moods as Shanta Dasya, the causes of gradation of bhavas. Even in persons possessing one ratri such as Dasya are the particular qualities of the individual mind such as Garishta, which are described in the following verses. So although they are situated in rati of Dasya, but there are particular qualities of that individual mind. So that's why there is different again varieties. Prabhupada speaks the same thing about it. I will not this. In other words, one can detect the color of a dye as color of dye a cloth. One can detect the color of dye a cloth was soaked in by looking at the cloth. So simply by understanding the different signs of these symptomatic features, one can understand the actual position. In other words, attachment for Krishna is one rati, but because there exist different kinds of devotees, such attachments are manifested in many varieties. As clothing tinged red appears red, so the temporary appearance of a certain type of feeling can be detected and observed by the specific symptomatic symptoms. So actually, one who is a little very advanced devotee, uh, he can very much recognize in the devotees in what mood they are situated, whether Shant, Dasya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. Of course, that devotee should be also advanced in his practices, and he has come to that stage. But very advanced devotees can detect this. In fact, all the different humors and mellows of the devotees produce various specific feelings within the mind. And according to these differences, the symptoms of ecstatic love appear in different forms and degrees. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Now, all these different types are discussed. Chitte garishte gambire, mahishte karkashadike, samyak unmilitas na lakshante sputam janehe. Even if these bhavas were to appear strongly in hearts, chitte, which are garishta, heavy, gambhir, deep, mahishta, mahishta, expansive, karkasha, hard in nature, ordinary people could not perceive the bhavas clearly because there would be no external transformations of body or senses. So ordinary people cannot perceive these bhavas, although these bhavas appear in the heart. This verse begins a description of degrees of manifestation of bhavas. The word ami refers to the bhavas. Okay, further, as Rupa Goswami discusses the further things, I think it will become more clear. Chitte lagishte chottane shodishte komaladike manag unmilitaschami lakshante bahir ulbana. When these bhavas arise even slightly, manag means slightly, unmilitaschami, in hearts, chitte, which are lagisht, light, uttana, spread on the surface, chottane, cha uttane becomes chottani, shodishta, small, and komal, soft. They can be recognized externally because of the extreme transformation of the body and the senses. So the point being made is that repressive, all these four, internally they are experiencing emotions, externally they don't manifest. But those who are of this category, receptive, light, uttana, and shodishta, and komal, externally these symptoms are manifest. That's what is being. They can be recognized externally because of extreme transformation of body and senses. Here, what is happening? Because there is no transformation of body and senses. So that's the point being made. Okay. Now, some idea Rupa Goswami gives to make us understand this. He is giving some idea to make us understand this. So let us see what is that understanding. It's quite evident and clear. Not much explanation is required. And we'll just quickly go through this. Yeah, okay, we are here. The heavy heart, Garishtam, is like a pile of gold. Swarna Pindabhyam. The light heart, Lagishtam, is like a pile of cotton wool. Tula Pindavat. The bhavas act like wind. Bhavasya Pavana Upma in relation to these types of heart. So in the light heart, it is compared to cotton wool. The heavy hearts are compared to the pile of gold. And the bhavas are like wind. So the wind blows, the cotton wool blows. So external symptoms are there. But when the wind blows, it doesn't make any difference to the pile of gold. So that's it. The external symptoms don't manifest here. Whereas those who are lagishta heart, they manifest. If one's heart is highly elevated, grave and magnanimous, or if one's heart is rough and crude, different symptoms of ecstatic love will appear, influenced by the condition of the heart. Actually, people cannot generally understand such different qualities of mentality. But when one's heart is very soft or gentle, these symptoms become very easily visible and one can understand them very clearly. So Prabhupada has not given he's given a broad classification. The heart of one who is highly elevated and grave is compared to the gold. The heart who is very soft and gentle heart is compared to a cotton swab. When there is an ecstatic sensation within the mind, the golden heart or the grave heart is not agitated, but the soft heart immediately becomes agitated. Okay. The deep heart is like an ocean. Gambiram Sindhuvat Chittam. And the shallow heart is like a pond. Utthanam Palvadadivat. The Bhavasya, are like pinnacles of high mountains. Mahindra Shikara Upama. For these types of two hearts. Chitte Dvaye Atra. So the deep heart is compared to the ocean. The shallow heart is compared to the pond. And the bhavas are compared to the pinnacles of high mountains. Let's see what it means. The expansive heart is like a city. Pattanabhyam mahishtam syat. And the small heart is like a hut. Shodishtam chu kutiravat. Bhava is like a lamb or an elephant. Bhavasya deepane bhena upama. For these two types of hearts. So the upma is compared to these, To offer another example, a grave magnanimous heart is compared to a great city and a soft heart is compared to an insignificant cottage. There may be many lights or even great elephants in a big city, but no one will take particular notice of them. But once such lights or elephants are seen near a small cottage, everyone can distinctly point out to them. That's a point. There are 3 degrees of hardness. Karkasham Trividam Proktam. Like a thunderbolt, Vajram, gold, Swarnam, and lack, tata jato. Bhava is like a fire in relation to bhava se geya Vaishvanaro Upama. Vaishvanaro is fire. These three types of hard heart. So there is a hardness of the heart, and it is compared to thunderbolt, gold, and lack. And the bhava is compared to fire. Fire, thunderbolt reaction, fire, gold reaction, fire and lack. Fire and lack will easily melt. That's the point. The thunderbolt is extremely hard, atyant katinyam vajram, and never becomes soft. Akutaschana mardavam. The hardness is seen, idrisham avakshate, in the hearts, chittam, of those tavat who perform severe austerities. Tapasadinam. So that's why in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Eastern Division, Rupa Goswami makes this point when he discusses Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. He says that Gyan and Vairagya are not the limbs of Bhakti, he says. And by the practice of Bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya automatically manifest. Why Gyan and Vairagya are not the limbs of Bhakti? He gives many reasons. Of course, we'll not discuss here. One of the reasons is Kartinyam. Kartinyam means it makes the heart very, very hard. Whereas Bhakti is like mrudu, soft, like a navneet, he says, like a butter, So Bhakti is like that. So that's why one whose heart is very hard, you can see that it is, it never becomes soft. And it is because they perform severe austerities. Tapasadinam refers to immature devotees in Shanta mode. So the tapasvis, they can maximum achieve Shant mode in Aishwarya. Okay. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands. I'm just going through. This is just a basic information about things. We can relate to it a little bit with our practice of bhakti, that how our heart has become soft. And we can see that, our heart melts when we see people engaged in uh, meat eating or liquor. We feel bad for them. We feel compassion for them because this is of the bhakti which is present in the heart in the form of softness. But there are deeper emotions which manifest in the bhava stage. And that time, these gradations are all being discussed. Swarnam, gold becomes liquid. Swarnam draviti. From intense heating. Tapena ati gariyasha. By the very strong heat of bhavagnes, this heart becomes soft. Jatu dravyatum. Lack becomes soft with very little heat. Ayati tapaleshena. With a little bhava, this heart becomes soft. So between the comparisons of this Atyant Kartinyam, that even heat, thunderbolt heart, it doesn't become soft. But with a lot of heat, that means intense bhava, it can become liquid. The heart will melt. Some devotees sometimes are very, very strict, very difficult. They don't melt. Their heart doesn't melt only. No, so it becomes very difficult to deal with them also. But maybe, when they go to Dham or they hear some lectures of a sadhu, or at the time of death, because of extreme emotions, they might, melt. And then actually we start understanding the true glories of this devotee. Till then, we might be criticizing and finding fault with the devotee. So we should not do that. And we should understand that, they are coming from different backgrounds from their previous lives. And all who have taken to bhakti are all glorious. So these are different bhavas they are having, and Krishna is taking care of it. Why we have to worry about it? So that should be our mood. But those who are like loft, lack, their hearts, they immediately melt. That's it. Okay. A hard heart is compared to a lightning bolt, to gold and to shellac. The lightning bolt is very strong and never becomes soft. Similarly, the hearts of those who are engaged in severe austerities and penances do not become very easily softened. The golden heart becomes melted at high temperatures as in ecstatic love, and the shellac heart is very easily melted in slight temperature. That's the point. Softness is of 3 degrees. Now, komalam. Now, within the softness, there are 3 degrees. Kolam cha traiva, traiva uktam, traivena uktam. Like bees, wax, madamam, madanam, butter, navanitakam, and nectar, amritam cheti. In relation to these, atra, bhava is like the heat of the sun. Praya, surya, tapayate. So you see, for all these different degrees of the hearts, the examples of the bhava are compared to different. Anyone remembers now, up till now, what are the comparisons of the bhava? Let us see how many of you are hearing. And somebody has to do this chart. Very interesting chart it is. What are the different bhavas compared to? What is first time the bhava compared to? Anyone? Raise your hands. Sri Lalita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Now what you told is about this like a wax like thing that will melt very easily. There are different degrees of devotees.
No, here, okay. Here the softness, komal, is of 3 degrees. Like bee wax, butter, and nectar. Okay.
Yes.
But what is the bhava compared to here? Bhava is compared to what? Like bhava is compared to what?
Heat of the sun.
Heat of the sun. Now you tell me, when the sun heat is exposed to the bee wax, butter, and nectar, what are the transformations it will happen? You don't have any experience of this.
But no, butter melts easily.
Butter also melt.
Beeswax take time to.
Pardon?
Butter melts easily, Prabhuji.
Bee wax?
Beeswax, I'm not sure. I don't have experience from.
You don't have experience in the kitchen of bee wax?
Beeswax is honey, Prabhu.
Yes. Bee wax.
Okay, okay.
If
But
you
we are
keep
not
it.
supposed to heat honey, right, Prabhu?
No, but yeah, you're not supposed to heat honey, but in the summer, in the winter, it is a little thick, but in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
summer,
it's
it
thick.
melts, right?
Yeah, it's comparatively, yeah,
Ah,
it takes much more time for it. Like butter, in little bit heat itself, it starts becoming
bee
liquidy.
wax. Okay, so this is one comparison done of bhava. Then here the, you know, hardness of the heart is compared to what? Sudhanshu, let us hear Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, Prabhuji. Hardness is compared to the 3 degrees of hardness are what?
That is like thunderbolt, gold, and
Thunderbolt, gold, and lac. And bhava is compared to here what?
Bhava is compared here like fire.
Fire is compared to fire, right?
So yes, so fire in
Thunderbolt,
small fire, even small
Thunderbolt, no
heat.
effect. He's hard-hearted only.
Yes,
This is compared to the austerities. Gold, you need a lot of fire to melt gold, right?
yes, bro.
And lac is, very little and
Easily.
it starts melting, right?
Lake house we hear in Mahabharata, lake house.
Yes, yes. Okay, now, in this verse, who will answer? Let's take line by line. Ashodhkatma Prabhuji, are you there? No. Okay. Priya Mataji, are you there? Okay, no. Shrishti Gupta Mataji.
I didn't get the question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, now the question here is, in this verse, there is the deep heart and the shallow heart. So what are they compared and what is bhava compared to?
The deep heart is compared to the ocean.
Hmm.
And I'm reading what is there on the screen.
Yeah, you can read that, no problem.
The shallow heart is compared to a pond.
Pond. And bhava is compared to what?
Pinnacles of high mountains.
The pinnacles of high
mountains.
mountains. Hmm. So how is the comparison of these pinnacles of high mountain connected to deep heart and shallow heart? Can you explain?
Pinnacles. The deep heart. Oh. The pinnacles are the top of the mountain and the base of the mountain. But how do
Yes.
we connect the two?
Yes, yes. The more high the mountain, right?
Yeah, the more high the mountain.
Then, the heart is deep, like a ocean then.
Okay.
And if the pinnacles of the mountain are like very small ones, then it is like a pond, right?
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Right?
Got it, Prabhuji.
Yes. Yes. Then here, the heavy heart and the light heart are compared to what? And the bhavas are compared to what? Yes. Sudhanshu Prabhuji, you answered, right? We will take the next in the group. Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can you please repeat the question?
Heavy heart is compared to what? And the light heart is compared to what? And the bhava is, what is the comparison given? Upma, what is the upma given?
Heavy heart is like a pile of gold. The light heart is like a pile of cotton wool.
And the bhava is like what?
Was act like wind in relation to these two types of hearts.
Okay. So what is the now comparison done? What happens like when the bhava acts on a light heart? What happens?
It is carried away.
Pardon?
When the bhava acts like wind on the cotton wool, pile of cotton wool.
No. See, when the bhava affects a light heart, what happens?
Pardon, Prabhuji, I couldn't get it.
When the bhava acts on a light heart, what happens? When the bhava acts on a light heart, what happens?
In this case, the cotton wool can be carried away easily by the wind.
Yes. So he just gets carried away and he goes and dives in that ocean of bhava. Like, because the cotton wool can move with the wind, right? But with a
Yes.
heavy heart, it is like a pile of gold. A huge wind is required to carry that, right?
Yes.
So that is the comparison. I hope you got. Is it clear? I hope it is clear. Is it clear? Yes or no? Sunita Mataji, is it clear for you? Yes. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
yes,
Okay,
clear.
now there is one question which is, let's finish this. Softness is 3 degrees like bee wax, butter, and nectar in relation to the heat of the sun. Madana means beeswax. The list of the words starting with lagu, light, followed by utthana and shodishta, are considered in relation to the words starting with garishta, heavy, gambhira, mahishta, in order to explain the cause of being externally disturbed, undisturbed or disturbed by various Vyabhicari bhavas. However, the words of use of the words karkasha, hard, and komal, soft, are used in order to explain the cause of solid or liquid nature or the degree of receptivity of the heart in relation to the chief sthayi bhav in a person. So there is two things. These words like lagu, followed by Utthana, Shodishta. And the words like Garishta, followed by Gambhir and Mahishta, are in order to explain the cause of being externally undisturbed or disturbed by the Vyabhicari bhavs. In that relation, they are used. But the words Karkasha and Komal are used in order to explain the cause of solid or liquid nature of degree of receptivity of the heart in relation to chief Stahi Bhav in a person. Like the mother heart will melt immediately, hearing some news of the child. So how is the heart? The heart is liquid, And sometimes some devotees are hard-hearted, or mothers also can be hard-hearted. Hearing about the child, it might not melt, it might be solid. Like that, the Vatsalya Prem can be solid or liquid in nature. The degree of receptivity is being discussed. Okay. The word Garisha indicates being unmoved by any object because of having a dense nature, thick-skinned individual, which allows little contact with objects. So we have heard this term, thick-skinned individual. Some people are very thick-skinned, they don't show any transformation. Their thick skin are very thick. The external influences don't affect them internally at all. Some people are, some people are so austere, it doesn't make any difference with the heat, cold, because of their body, which is done tapasya in the previous lives. Their heart is like that. They become unfazed. They don't move. They don't get affected only. The word Lagishta indicates that being moved by any object because of lack of dense nature, which allows quite a lot of contact with various stimulus. So they can get contact with various stimulus very easily. So this all is very important for us to understand our own, natures also. It is very important to understand this. Samyak Unmilanam, strongly appearing in verse 258, means there is possibility that the bhavas can appear strongly in Garishta or Karkasha hearts, but these are prevented from manifesting externally because of Garishta or Karkash hearts. So they appear, the bhavas appear, but because their hearts are like that, they externally don't manifest these emotions. Therefore, it will be explained in verse 269 that when the Stahi Bhav becomes extremely prominent, even then the Garishta heart becomes very agitated and the transforms become externally visible. Even Garishta heart become highly agitated when the Sthai Bhav becomes extremely prominent. Being deep Gambhira means that there is no visible disturbance even by extensive contact with objects, even with an object of powerful stimuli, because contact is not thorough, cannot penetrate the depth because they have a deep heart. Being spread on the surface, Utthana, which we saw, is the opposite. There is visible disturbance by less extensive contacts with a less powerful object because of thorough contact, because it's expansive, no? Mahishta. Expansive Mahishta means that though a person has an extensive contact with the objects and thorough contact with the object with a somewhat suitable object, there is only a localized manifestation of disturbance. That means only one or two senses are affected. Shodishta, small, means that just by a slight contact with the object, there is complete manifestation of bhava spontaneously. In explaining the nature of Uttana shallow, the analogy of the pond indicates that the emotions are at some depth, are still somewhat hidden. Whereas in explaining the nature of Shodishta, small, the analogy of the hut indicates that there is nothing hidden at all. Everything becomes, the trees, the elephants can be easily seen in the hut, but not in a city. In the king's city, there are so many elephants, though they are not so prominent. Thunderbolt, gold, and lac are used to explain the phenomenon of becoming liquid, receptive into various degrees. A person hard like thunderbolt is completely hostile to Krishna. A person who is hard like gold has equal amounts of hostility and affection for the Lord. He has equal amounts of hostility. A person who is hard like lac is affectionate with a slight tinge of hostility. He's affectionate, but there is tinge of hostility. On the other hand, beeswax, butter, and nectar indicate the 3 degrees of softness in affectionate devotees who are respectfully immature, moderate, or advanced in devotion. So those who are immature are the beeswax, those who are moderate are butter, who are nectar are advanced devotees. The meaning here is that these degrees of hardness of softness will produce even more differences in the pair of 3, Garishta, Gambhir, Mahishta, and Lagishta, Utthana, and Shodishta. So this is, a very, very complex explanation. The Garishta, Gambhir, and the Mahishta, and the Lagishta, Utthana, and the Shodishta, and there is a Komal. So all this, there is an interplay of this, and one has to study quite deeply, I'm feeling, to really go to understanding of this. That is what I can say for now. Where are we? Okay, we have done this discussion. Pond, okay. Person hard like hostile, yeah. Yeah, here we were. That's what. Now he is further giving the explanation that will make it more clear. You can see that. Sudhanshu Prabhuji, can you hold on for some time? We'll finish the discussion and take it up. Beeswax and butter, atradya yugalam, become liquid, dravet, from different degrees of heat from the sun. Atapena yatha yatham. Nectar, sarva daivamrita, is naturally liquid. Swabhavena dravi bhutam bhaved. The hearts, chittam of dearest devotees of Govinda, Govinda Preshta Varyanam, is naturally soft like nectar. Swad amrita killer. So here the hearts of the dearest devotees of Govinda are referring to Bhava Bhaktas and very advanced devotees. The hearts of the dearest devotees are naturally soft, Dravi Bhutam, and thus produce a great variety of Vyabhicari bhavs. Kindly hold on, let me finish this. Proper. A soft heart is compared to honey, to butter, and to nectar, and the condition of the mind is compared to sunshine. As honey and butter become melted even in slight sunshine, soft-hearted persons become easily melted. Nectar, however, is by its nature is always liquid. And the hearts of those who are in pure ecstatic love with Krishna are by nature always liquefied, just like nectar. Okay, so the last few verses are some discussion, which I'll take up, but there are some questions now. Okay, let me take the questions, yes. Sudhanshu Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So for the Gambhira example in which that it is
You have to
Bhava is
speak a little
compared.
loudly and clearly. I'm not able to hear you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, little better.
Okay, Prabhu. So that example of Gambhir, in that
Mhm.
there is Bhava is compared with the pinnacle of the this mountains, and heart is compared with the either pond or ocean. So what I understand, just want to confirm whether it is right or not. Like if heart is Gambhir like ocean, then that whole mountain can get into the what that, and pinnacle will not appear even outside. And but
Yeah,
the pond
also, yes, what you say is true. When the heart is Gambhir, it's like, the whole mountain can be seen. But the heart is like a pond, you cannot see the mountain peak. Only a certain portion is seen. So that's
oh,
also
but that mountain pinnacle means it's kind of like floating height,
the
and
peak,
Gambhira means
the peak, the peak.
yes,
Yes.
yes, peak.
The
So
peak can be seen,
ocean,
and in the small ponds, the peak cannot be seen.
but in pond, how can we put this even pinnacle?
You cannot
That I don't.
see, you cannot see the pinnacle of the mountains. that means the mountains are very small. They're small in size. The depth
Yes,
is not there. The depth of knowledge is not there, or depth of the bhava is not there. That's a
yes.
understanding. Just a general understanding with the analogies is given here.
Okay.
Okay. Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I have this question that beeswax we know, butter we know, but what about nectar?
Nectar, you know,
Pair it
is,
with
it can be anything which is dravya. Amrit, it can, Amrit means, it's the nectar of the somras, or it is nectar, anything which is dravit. It's already dravit. But beeswax and what is it? Butter,
butter.
they are not in a dravya state. They are
Yes,
not in a flowing state. But dravya means flowing. So they can flow when it starts melting, yes?
yes.
Beeswax, when it is in the form of wax, it doesn't flow. Only when it melts, it can flow. That's the point. Is it
Okay.
clear?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Now these are last few verses of some additional explanation about all these things Rupa Goswami is giving. The mind, mano of some devotee, Krishna Bhakta Visheshasa, may be constantly influenced Sada Ambivir by the mixture of Samavetam, 2 or 3, Dvaitrayarapi of the above conditions such as Garishta. Garishtatadibhir Gune. Garishta, Gambhir, and Mahishta are caused by having mixed motives in the relationship with Krishna. Lagishta, Uttana, and Shodishta manifest by having with no personal motives. Awareness of the greatness of Brahman produces hardness of the heart, karkasha. So that's why this Gyan path is the heart becomes very hard. Awareness of the sweetness of Krishna produces softness in the heart. The appreciation of Krishna's sweetness and the soft heart produced in his devotees are causes of astonishing effects. This is explained in the commentary of the 10th canto in the following verse. Ittam satam brahma sukyanuvatya dhasyam gatanam paradevatena maya shritanam nar darakena sakam vrijahru krita punya punja. Here is a supreme person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, a most worshipable form by the Dasi Bhaktas, and the son of a human being, Nara Darakena, by ordinary being, Maya Ashritana. Now, these boys who have performed many, many pleasing activities in their past lives, Krita Punya Punja, are playing with that Supreme Person Godhead in the form of a cowherd. Wow, Sakam, they are playing. So this is, because of the softness of their heart. And you can see that the same person, because of, the Jnana path, they are considering him as impersonal Brahman by the great sages. And in the Dasya, he is a worshipable form by the Das Bhaktas. And for ordinary human being, he's another human being. Maya Prita Gyan, Asurim Bhavam Ashrita. Not that. Avajananti Mam Bhunda, Manusham Tanumashita. Like that. In the verse at hand, the minds of these devotees do not show variety caused by material gunas such as sattva, but various bhavas. Guna here means bhavas, not the material emotions. These bhavas of two type, prakat and bhagavata, inferior and exalted. The Kanishta devotees possess prakat bhavas, and these become causes of Garishta, Gambhir, and Mahishta. So in the Kanishta, these bhavas are there. I was also considering this. I had not studied this. Uh, I had not prepared for it before. And I was considering that even in devotees, we can see there is different bhavas. So the Kanishta have this Garishta, Gambhir, and Mahishta hearts. That's what the devotees of high quality show Bhagavat bhavas. Because of possessing bhavas caused by having hearts as soft as nectar, these devotees are completely devoid of the low qualities such as Garishta. In all cases, the amount of softness or melting of the heart depends on the strength of the stahi Bhav. Ultimately, how much they have developed the Sahi Bhav. In the list of Thunderbolt, Gold, and Lac mentioned in 263, Lac is softest. Gold is less soft, and Thunderbolt is the least soft. Thus, the amount of Sahi Bhav will be the least in the Thunderbolt heart. And thus, disturbance or lack of disturbance from the Vyabhicari Bhavs also depends on the strength of the Sahi Bhav. Based on the strength of the Sahi Bhav, whether there will be disturbance or lack of disturbance. But in all these cases, the cause being Garishta, Gambhira, and Mahishta, Lagishta, Uttana, and Shodishta is the one natural bhav, strong or weak, and the causes of disturbance are various incidental bhavas. This is restatement of verses 254 to 255. Already this has been spoken there in those verses. Okay, now further, Rup Goswami says, Kintu, but when the principal Sahi Bhav, Mahishtatvam Bhavo, becomes very prominent, Shusht Bhadyam Upagata, all types of hearts, Sarva Prakaram Evede Chittam become completely disturbed by the Vyabhicari Bhavs. Vikshobhita Atya Alam. But when it becomes prominent, the Sahi Bhav, then all types of hearts become completely disturbed by the Vyabhicari Bhavs. I'm giving you some example to understand this verse. When there is a very advanced devotee who is performing very ecstatic kirtan, sometimes there are devotees who just come to the temple to hear lectures and they don't participate in kirtans or any other thing. They just hear the lecture and go. Some don't dance in the kirtan. But all these different, devotees will all ecstatically dance. They all become completely disturbed. Why? Because of that very advanced devotee exhibiting these Sahi Bhava emotions. So similarly, when the principal Sahi Bhava becomes very prominent, all the hearts become completely disturbed. Very, very nice this is. There may not be disturbance of the heart from the Vyabhicari Bhavs in persons who are Garisht. And in the Thunderbolt heart, there is no softness at all. It has always also been said that the melting of the heart is covered by the Sahi Bhav alone. How then can such a heart be considered a devotee heart at all? This verse answers the question. Bhava here indicates a Stahi Bhav, which has become the principal Stahi Bhav of an individual, while the others become incidental. The principal Stahi can be Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Just as by application of special chemical diamonds become soft, so all types of heart also become soft by a very prominent Stahi Bhav. Ultimately, one has to develop the Stahi Bhav, and the heart will become soft. Prabhupada, a pure devotee of Krishna is always specifically qualified with nectarian qualification and sometimes with the qualifications of butter and honey. On the whole, the heart in any of the different conditions mentioned above can be melted under circumstances, just as hard diamond is sometimes melted by a combination of certain chemicals. Now, there is a beautiful, kavya analogy explaining, this in this verse. Yatha Danikeli Kaumudyam. The devotee is like an ocean, Gambhiropi. As Vishnu resides in the milk ocean, so the devotee, the Lord resides in the heart of the devotee. Harer Aspadamopi. Devotee is compared to ocean, and Vishnu resides in the milk ocean. So also the Lord resides in the heart of the devotee. As the ocean is deep or unfathomable, Haryam, the heart of the devotee is inscrutable, not relieving its qualities, Gambhiropi. So the ocean is also deep. Similarly, the heart of the devotee is also very deep. As the ocean is unwavered, so the devotee is continuous in his service. As the ocean is difficult to cross, but has a permanent shore, so the devotee's qualities are difficult to enumerate. What a comparison, na? But he appears to limit those qualities. But when the devotee, Satam, develops full prema, he cannot prevent the transformations arising from that heart. Just as the ocean cannot prevent the rising of the tide when the moon rises from the ocean. What a beautiful comparison it is. This verse is a summary. So it's a summary of the whole thing. The multitude of devotees, Satam Stomam, have natural Gambhiratva or inscrutability, which becomes the cause of hiding their prema. Having limits, Maryadam, means the devotees show a limit to their good qualities in order to avoid arrogance. Being hard to understand completely means that the devotees actually possess unlimited good qualities. That becomes the cause of appearing to have limits. Whenever someone sees a good quality in devotee, that devotee takes that as a rare occurrence, not his nature, because he wants to hide from public awareness. This is not a, sign of a devotee to manifest his good qualities. Just like no chaste woman will keep herself covered. That is a sign of a chastity. So similarly, the devotee's good qualities, he keeps them hiding, covered, and it doesn't allow them to appear. Though the devotees are the abode of the Lord, the devotees make efforts to hide that fact. The devotees does not indulge in showing external symptoms of having attained his nature and from seeing the Lord directly. In relation to the ocean, though it is always the residence of the Lord, it undergoes transformation tides on seeing the moon, because the ocean becomes spread with the rays of the moon, its offspring, which makes it suitable for the Lord's pastimes of sleeping there. Prabhupada states the same thing in his endnote. In Danakeli Kaumudi, it is stated, when love develops in the heart of the devotee, he cannot check the transformation of his sentiments. His heart is just like an ocean at the rising of the moon. When the ebb tide cannot be checked, immediately there must be the movement of high waves. Although in its natural state, the ocean is always grave and unfathomable, when the moon rises, nothing can check the ocean's agitation. Similarly, those who are pure devotees cannot at any account check the movement of their feelings within. Now, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu's associates are called as Gambhir, like an ocean, very, very grave. But sometimes with Mahaprabhu, they used to play in the Narendra Sarovar. It is there in Jaipuri. And they used to play like children, playing, splashing water as though like children. So such Gambhir people, great, great saints like Mahavishnu, who is Advaita Acharya and Nityanand Prabhu. So were like ocean, who used to never manifest, but they used to, act like children and start playing. So that's how the devotees are. And that whole thing is being compared here with this example given in the last verse. And that ends the discussion on Vyabhicari, Bhava of the southern division of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Thank you very, very, very much for all your wonderful contribution and your very enthusiastic participation. It's because of you all I was also able to study this very important subject, the Vyabhicari Bhav. And I felt the need after studying this that we need to go more deeply into Vyabhicari Bhav and understand, because these are the Vyabhicari Bhavs which are an obstacle in our pure devotion. I mean, the emotion of anger, the emotion of envy, the emotion of disgust which comes, these material emotions blow our body. So the more we understand how these emotions work and we try to become free from it, then the more we can advance in devotional service. So it's very important that we understand this Vyabhicari Bhav. Of course, we should understand all the others also. Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, Vyabhicari Bhav. But Vyabhicari Bhav, I felt it is very, very important. So we have completed this discussion in 15 classes. And there is some additional insight into it from Jaiva Dharma and from Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's another commentary called as the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Bindu. That I will take up as an overview when we start the Satviki Bhav. So children, kindly hold on. We will start the Satviki Bhav as soon as possible. That should take around 10 classes. Within 3 weeks, we'll try to finish it. Any questions, any clarification anyone has can raise their hands. Okay, Bir Krishna Prabhu has a question. Yes, Bir Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, this variety of hearts, there is a scope for transformation also, Prabhu, depending on sadhana and all.
Yes, yes. That's what Rupa Goswami is saying. That ultimately the Kanishtas have these different varieties of hearts, and as they advance in their relation to Krishna, the heart will soften, and ultimately, you will manifest. When Stahi Bhav becomes fully prominent, then the ecstatic transformations will be externally also seen. So it is a matter of time, and ultimately, but all these different varieties have to be understood so that we understand, at what state we are in. So that's very important.
Right. Thank you.
Any other
That-
questions anyone has? Okay, so I'll stop here.